This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm delighted to be joined by Jamie Conlan here in Nottingham. Jamie, straight into it, obviously I hope you've had a good New Year's and good Christmas and what have you, but your team's departing, so I need to try and be quick. A much more tense and heated press conference than what I thought most expected to see today. What did you make of it, being up on stage yourself?
I wasn't meant to be there, was just dragged up at the last second, but I think it amplifies what the fight is. It means a lot to both fighters. It's going to come out in press conferences. Both of them like to talk a lot of smack and shit. They're very confident and cocky in their own regard, and very confident. Like each team, I can tell, is confident in some things, but there is some mental blocks, I think, on the other side, and they came out a wee bit today.
The mental blocks thing is an interesting comment to say there, Jamie, because I spoke to Ben Davison after the press conference and he said that he feels maybe the pressure's getting to Mick a little bit, off going on what you said about mental blocks on their side as well. What do you make of it all? Do you think there's any pressure on either side?
Michael Conlan has debuted in Madison Square Garden, sold out every ticket in Madison Square Garden, walked out with Conor McGregor, had 10 minutes to warm up then. That was his debut. Sells out Madison Square Garden every year. There is thousands travel from his own town, people he's known growing up. People have got expectations on him throughout his whole life. They've travelled, paid their hard-earned money to go to New York every St. Paddy's Day and whatnot. He has faced pressure. He has been in hostile venues, where his own hostile now, but he has been in a cauldron of expectations, and no one understands the weight of expectation. He carries a country, not a city, not a family, a country on his shoulders, as always been labelled as the next big thing. Being the most decorated male amateur to ever come out of the country, the only ever world champion male to come out of the country. Him and Katie Taylor have carried a weight of expectations since 2012 right through to now that people don't understand. When we come to these cities in England, they don't understand. Boxing is all we have in a lot of positions, so no pressure on Michael's on coming into this. This is probably the first time pressure-free he will have. Well, he's not worrying. This is the first time Leigh Wood will have someone in the shop when he's going to get a milk asking about the fight, coming up to the fight, getting more and more pressure, expectations to knock out the Irish kid. You said you're going to knock him out, you have to knock him out. All these wee things will play a part. They'll have to talk him to his head, because I know he is a bit fragile. All these things he has not experienced before. He experienced it on a smaller level in 2019 when he fought Rand Doyle, and you could see it on that night. There was a lot of weight on his shoulders, and you could tell on his face. So it's different, it's new. The pressure is on their side. The pressure is on them to perform and to hold up their end of the bargain and knock Michael out.
Jamie, I'm interested to know, how did the fight end up in Nottingham? You've just mentioned the success that Mick's had selling out MSG. I know Belfast would have been discussed, but why Nottingham? Is it simply because it's Leigh's backyard and he holds the title?
Because Leigh Wood wanted to fight in Nottingham before he retired. He did not want to fight in Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing, which subconsciously tells me Leigh Wood's going to lose on March the 12th, and he knows he's going to lose, because if he was so confident beating Michael, he would have fought in Madison Square Garden, brought Nottingham then for the summer against Josh Warrington or Kiko Martinez. So I think there is a lot of doubts in his head. This is why he had big push for it. We were happy. We got more money. We got a side deal, smiling all the way to the bank. And deep down inside, as a team, as a family, we thought this was the right move. This was to make a name for yourself, to create a legacy, to go into a very hostile territory, which we're expecting on March the 12th, to beat the reigning world champion, to beat him in his own backyard, to beat him in front of his friends and family. This is what makes legends in Ireland. This is what makes, especially when the fans come over for a big away day, they gather. It's different. It's a different feel. We're bringing thousands across, but this is different. There's no expectations, no pressure. It's a great trade fight, the best I think under its own schedule. If you ask 10 people in the room, 5 will say Michael, 5 will say Leigh by knockout, and that's what makes it great. That's what makes it great. But it's heating up nicely.
Jamie, how does this fight play out for you guys in your head? How have you envisaged this fight being approached by both?
They have one game plan, one way to win. Knock Michael out. It can happen. Anyone can get knocked out in the ring. Jazz Dickens nearly knocked Leigh Wood out. Gavin McDonald knocked Leigh Wood out. Leigh Wood's a big puncher. They can knock anyone out. If they're saying, and I do believe it, that he hits really hard. Michael has A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He can go through different repertoire. He's faced various. As Ben said, and they're very observant. And I know the fella in the baseball hat who watches all the video has probably watched more of Michael than anyone else and stuff like that, and they can see different flaws. But Michael's adaptability, his unpredictability, that was what will win him the fight. He can win at orthodox, he can win at southpaw, he can outfight him up close, he can box him at long, they can dance in the middle of the ring, they can scrap it out. So it's very exciting because I think we're going to see the best of Michael Conlan. I think we're going to see the best of Leigh Wood as well because of the build-up and what it's going to have to take for him to win because he's never faced someone like Michael. But that's what adds to the legacy. This is what the destiny of Michael is ingrained in now. March 12th, champion of the world.
Jamie, successful Mick come March 12th. I asked him, what could be next? You've got Gary Russell Jr. and Mark McSower fighting this weekend. Obviously, you've got Kiko Martinez, Josh Warrington, 2 fights taking place a couple of weeks after Leigh and Mick's fight. And he said he wants Josh Warrington next. He said that he wants Kiko to win that fight because he knows him personally, but he knows the Warrington fight is just much bigger and could just sell out an arena, a stadium even. With that in mind, is there any risk of him overlooking the task at hand?
Nah, he'll answer the question, but mentally he's not focused on it. He's focused on Leigh Wood. Every day we speak, it's Leigh Wood. Different thing that worked on a different day of beating a different style, all these different things. Leigh Wood, I believe maybe is a tougher fight than the other two because of he's riding the wave, because of he's fighting in his hometown. But yeah, Warrington is a huge fight. He does great numbers. Warrington and Michael in Madison Square Garden would make a lot of sense because both fans would travel. And in the big room, Warrington always wants a fight in America, and Michael is a viable option because of the crowd that will come out, and then the East Coast will back it. So something like that could work. But Leigh Wood is the only focus. It's going to be the hardest fight in Michael's career because it's the next fight in Michael's career.
Jamie, just finally want to get your thoughts on, we saw Bob Arum's comments this morning that talks underway once again between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk for a potential fight out in the Middle East. I just want to get your take on the entire situation involving the heavyweight division, obviously with Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua a part of those names as well.
I think, if I'm being honest, that's the one that makes the most sense, logically. Boxing never works logically, mad things happen. But Usyk would beat AJ again if they fought, and he wouldn't beat Tyson Fury. AJ will beat Dillian Whyte, and I think that's the fight everyone wants to see. You want to see Tyson Fury versus AJ for all the marbles. Can Usyk upset the apple cart? If anyone can, it'll be him, but I don't think he beats Tyson. Tyson has the style to beat him. AJ, I don't think, has the style to ever beat Usyk. I think that last fight proved it, that it wasn't it was so one-sided, it was so easy if they really made it, that it's just going to be mentally hard, physically hard, and so on and so forth. But I think that's the logical route. Do Usyk and Fury. Middle East, yeah, it would be, it's where the money is, isn't it? So that's where it would make most sense. AJ back in the UK against Dillian Whyte would make a lot of sense. And then the winners fight each other at the end of the year, and we get what we all have been asking for the last few years: AJ versus Tyson Fury for all the marbles.
Right, Jamie, we'll leave that there now. I'll leave you to go and find your team because I'm wary that everyone's left and I've taken longer than I anticipated, but I appreciate it as always. Great to see you, and thank you for speaking to me in Boxing Social.
Cheers, Andi. Thanks for having me on. Good to speak to a good Brummie. Hopefully you're a Villa man like myself.
I'm a West Brom fan, unfortunately. So.
Unlucky for some, but yes. Yes. Nice one, Andi.